Hey guys, this is Dr. Sandy with another exciting video for you and your family and friends. Today we're going to be talking spring detox for the brain. What does that even mean? So there's certain um, products we may be using which affect the brain and its function. So we're going to go into that. I would ask if you can try to reduce or eliminate these things. It keeps the brain healthy, which is obviously connected to the spinal cord, which would affect the body. But we're really just going to focus on the brain because as chiropractors, we want to make sure that obviously the brain's healthy, the spinal cord is healthy, because we know brain and spinal cord control all the major systems. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and let's just jump into it. So, spring detox. Today, as I film this, it is the first day of spring. There's a certain excitement. We know there's going to be more sunshine. You're feeling more optimistic. A lot of people are kind of like spring cleaning out the house, cleaning out the garage, probably something I need to do for sure. But one thing we can't forget is also the spring detox with the body. So I think we've heard from different sources and health places and things that, we already know these certain things are going to be negative for the body, but I'm coming from the brain perspective, and it just adds, I think, another dimension, another way to look at things to say, wow, like I already knew those things were negative, but I didn't realize it was affecting the brain, which is the focus of this video. So let's jump into it. So the categories we're going to look at are things that we want to reduce or eliminate: caffeine, alcohol, smoking, sugar, and fast foods, because all of these things we're finding in the research does affect the brain. Now, depending on the articles you read, I've read things like it can affect the actual structure, how the brain is firing, blood volume, shrinkage in some cases of the brain, gray matter gets affected, which is where we do our higher thinking, memory can get affected. So there's a lot of research, and it's kind of saying all the same thing. It seems like these certain elements attack the brain. And I'm asking you, as I go over this list, it's not like you never have it again, but I'm asking for a reduction. It should be maybe like, once in a blue moon, whatever that looks like. But let's jump into it. It's quite fascinating. So with caffeine, as a chiropractor, that is a stimulant. So sometimes you might get that energy benefit, but long term, it's actually just keeping the body kind of at this high state and not getting into a deep restful state. So actually caffeine can make you feel anxious. It can affect your sleep. And they've done studies that even again, the blood flow to the brain is getting affected with caffeine, like needing less. So obviously that's something we want to reduce. And you're probably listening to this if you're my patient as well. I will tell you about it. I'm always a fan of just less caffeine. You know, that will look different for everyone. Now, some people can eliminate caffeine. It's not a big deal. For some people, it would be like, I still need that 1 cup in the morning. But hey, if you were 3 cups before and you're down to 2 or 1, that's still a win. But let's reduce those caffeine levels. Obviously, see what your body can handle. Baby steps as always. Don't go from 3 to 0. I would not recommend it. You'll probably get withdrawal symptoms. But reducing your caffeine, obviously increasing water will obviously be a benefit. And then the other thing I would say to you as well, as we're going into this whole detox model, choose one. You don't have to do it all. Just choose one thing that you need to reduce to keep the brain healthy. And then choose your time schedule. So you may tell yourself that, okay, I think that I will be able to avoid having a coffee, that second cup, from 12 to 6, or whatever that looks like for you. So maybe start with 6 hours or 12 hours, and then if you build up momentum, say, okay, I think I'll try this for a day. Then if you feel strong enough, maybe 3-4 days, maybe a week, and then if you're really disciplined, maybe even a month. And what we're trying to do is slowly over time teach the body to have better, healthier habits. So caffeine would be the big one. Alcohol, it actually affects how the memory works. If obviously, if it's a couple of times a year, if it's a special event, in my opinion, I don't think that would be a big deal. But chronically drinking at a high level, it does affect the brain. There's some studies suggesting it may even cause brain damage. So all of these elements, the caffeine, alcohol, smoking, sugar, fast food, it seems to attack the body and specifically the brain. And that's obviously something we want to be mindful of. So maybe you're listening to this and you like to have some alcohol every night, and maybe you don't have it during the week, but you have more on the weekends, and it's excessive, and it affects your ability to function. I would gently suggest to you to maybe have less alcohol, because it is such a good thing for the brain to have less alcohol, obviously. Smoking also does affect, some studies are saying, the brain size. It seems like the chemicals from smoking go into the brain and it can affect function as well. Sugar seems to also cause an inflammatory response. It's also a negative, obviously, on the brain. Fast food as well, also inflammatory. And again, we see this consistent theme when the brain starts to not function properly. We see things like the memory, the focus, the concentration getting affected. And I know there's some people out there who complain of just lack of focus, almost like a brain fog, using those kind of expressions. So I think we can agree caffeine, alcohol, smoking, sugar, fast food, if we in general do it for the body, but it's so fascinating to see how it actually directly affects the brain. And again, choose a schedule that works for you. Drink more water. And the good thing is if you're reducing these things in the body, it's just going to help other systems. For example, someone who smokes less is obviously going to be good for the lungs. Smoking, I also believe, is very much connected to heart health, so less smoking will be good for that. Less of the fast food and sugars will obviously help with weight issues as well, which is also good for the body and obviously less stressful on the spine as well. So you can see how they're all connected. So I encourage you this spring, choose one category, take some baby steps, and then if you have that momentum building, it shouldn't be just in spring, but kind of throughout the year. And then, maybe you're the kind of person where you're like, okay, twice a year, 3 times a year. I would suggest maybe if you're open to this, maybe even if you just feel you're getting off track, once a month or whatever that looks like for you, on a regular basis, just say, okay, where am I falling off track with my diet? This thing that I did once in a while is becoming irregular. I need to cut back. And then just be mindful of that and know that your brain, your spinal cord, all your systems, your whole body will thank you for taking care of it. So really hope these tips help. Wish you all the best. God bless you and your family, and thank you so much.